No one thought ice fishing would be this easy. Using the preset lines, they effortlessly caught big fish. The fish were astonishingly huge, thicker than my thigh, and it wasn't just one person catching them. Everyone caught fish, with some landing 3 in a day. It felt like nature was handing them meat on a platter. Catching fish often hinges on using bait. Some believe setting up a fishing spot increases the chances of landing big fish. On the 65th day of the challenge, only 3 contestants remained. Let's first check on Craig. The temperature was dropping lower and lower. As soon as he stepped outside, he spotted a pine marten in the tree. If hunting were allowed, he would have taken it down for a snack. The little guy even growled at him, making Craig feel helpless. He decided it was more important to hurry to the fishing spot. With the snow, the path to the fishing spot had become very slippery. One wrong step could send him sliding back home. The snow didn't freeze well, and he could suddenly fall into the water despite the already low temperatures. There was even a layer of water on the ice. He had to be cautious everywhere he went. Craig had never experienced such cold before. He felt incredibly uncomfortable, both physically and mentally, and was exhausted every day. All he wanted was to catch a fish soon, but nothing was biting. Maybe he needed bait. He was struggling so much that he couldn't imagine how the others were managing. He doubted anyone could handle it better. He doubted anyone was doing better than him, but he was extremely anxious. Without catching fish, his stored fat wouldn't last long. He was really concerned his body couldn't handle the cold. His shoe soles were already iced over, making fishing conditions far from ideal. Everything was wet, and staying out longer might freeze him. Worst of all, his toes hurt terribly. Fearing frostbite, Craig returned to his shelter to check. Indeed, he had some frostbite, though it wasn't too severe yet. Warming up by the fire should help, but he had to cook more thoroughly from now on.
That's not bad at all.
On the 66th day of the challenge, he woke up early to eat some stored meat. It was really tough to get by. At least nothing had come to steal his food. Now he planned to use the remaining meat as bait. Eating dried pine nuts raw wasn't too bad. Next, he must see if he can catch more fish. This is vital for him. Without fat, he won't last till the end. Each visit, he must re-break the ice, fearing he might eventually harm the fishing line. Life here isn't ideal. He feels quite at ease. He finds ways to keep busy every day. Life isn't too bad. Just like the stored fish that's still there and edible, his mood is pretty good. To his surprise, there's another fish below. Though thrilled, William must carefully reel it in to avoid losing it, which would be a big setback. William is speechless with excitement. This fish is a great size, and will let him stay another week. If he could catch one daily, it would surpass hunting a moose. He aims to last 100 days here. William feels strong and fit. He wonders how many contestants remain and hopes they can endure a bit longer too. He really wants to break the record for the longest solo survival. Every time he catches a fish, it means fresh bait to attract more fish. Suddenly, he thinks surviving in the wild isn't so tough. While some argue raw fish is hard on the stomach, William claims it's safe and clean. Eating raw fish provides a lot of nutrients, which is very beneficial for the body. He recommends everyone try this delicacy. By day 67, the transformation from his arrival is stark. He shed a shocking amount of weight. It feels like his bones could break at any moment. He can barely recognize himself. He hopes for some meat to be sent his way. Otherwise, the show might force him to quit. A few days ago, he almost collapsed, but unexpectedly, he caught a big fish. Pace senses his luck is changing. He suspects there's a fish on the line. He was right. Fortune favors him. Another fish to fill his stomach.
Alert, baby!
If he wants to win the prize money, he needs more food. Only then will he have a chance to last until the end. He quickly processes the fish, eats some to maintain his strength, and stores the rest for later. Even though he's unsure of the remaining contestants, he trusts that with enough food, he can outlast them. He's just worried the show might force him to quit due to his weight. Pace thinks there's fish in the hole next door. He keeps trying to pull it up, seeing if it will bite. After teasing it a few times, the fish finally couldn't resist. He quickly pulled it up with force.
Got you!
Wow, his fish are getting bigger and bigger. Can Pace really make it to the end? He needs to catch crabs before dark. Why is there noise next door again? Did he catch another fish? If it weren't so hard to bury people here, I'd think the production team was planting fish. How did he suddenly get so much food? If this isn't staged by the production team, then Pace is just having an incredibly lucky day. Everything is falling into place, and it seems like anyone could take the win. Pace now needs to carefully plan his food distribution. He must make sure he has meat daily. Things are improving, and Pace is already planning how to spend the prize money. On the 68th day of the challenge, Craig was feeling very lost. He hadn't spotted any animals in ages and wished he could catch something soon. He feared the game might head to other contestants and get caught. That would hurt more than being eliminated. Craig believed Jack would make it this far, but Jack left on day 21. He also thought William was just lying there eating fish, hoping others would quit and go home soon. Then he could use the prize money to treat everyone to a big meal. Each day, he collects firewood and brings it back. He's happy with his shelter, but still adjusting to the weather. Craig always collects extra firewood, ensuring he has a backup supply for the shelter if needed. To keep warm, Craig's current solution is to burn more firewood. The shelter is too dry, and he's worried it might catch fire. Previous contestants have faced this issue, so he must be cautious. He doesn't feel he has any special edge. If the others had a bit more gear, he couldn't outlast them. To keep his feet from freezing, he stuffs bark inside his boots. This way, ice water won't get in. Craig wonders if there might be bears around. Despite the production team's warnings, no bears have been seen. Even if Craig saw one now, he lacks the strength to hunt it. Suddenly, his feet start to feel hot. Wow, part of his boots even melted. Clearly, Craig isn't cut out for this environment. With a hole in his boots, frostbite is more likely. He figures the boots will last a bit longer as long as he avoids soaking them. He quickly went to check on the fish and crabs, thinking a brief exposure wouldn't cause frostbite. He grabbed the axe and began breaking the ice. He noticed the weight change as he lifted it. Sure enough, there was a fish, though it was small. Even a small catch was satisfying. Craig planned to ration his food, eating a bit each day to stretch it out. He set the fish by the fire to thaw, knowing even a few more wouldn't satisfy his hunger. Now he had to split it into portions. His stomach growled with hunger, and he longed for home parties every night. He could only gaze through the window, feeling wretched. He appreciated nature's gift, now able to eat fresh fish. It was incredibly hard to come by. Craig felt deeply lonely, finding solace only in his drawings each day. On the 69th day of the challenge, William noticed the temperature dropping again. He had built a fireplace outside earlier to provide warmth at times like this. It worked well, and he felt warm inside the shelter. Today's priority was constructing a shed. He avoided indoor fires due to the high risk of them catching in this weather. The framework was simple, but required some time to adjust. On the 71st day, noises outside woke Pace up twice. When he checked the fish, he saw it had been bitten. He had no idea how the mink managed to get to the fish, so even after getting food, he couldn't relax. He had to protect the food from animals. Too tired to build a storage cabinet, Pace hung it in a tree. If that wasn't safe, he'd have to sleep with the food. The big fish had been dragged out, with bite marks all over it. He could only save the untouched parts. The good news was the mink didn't eat much. If it had been a wolverine, there'd be nothing left, and it might have attacked him. Now he had to wrap the food in clothes. He hoped this would protect it. If the food got stolen a couple more times, he wouldn't have enough to last. On the 72nd day of the challenge, Craig made some small items to pass the time. He even named each game piece with a character. The game rules were simple: 2 teams, rolling dice, and the one with the highest total points would be eliminated. Then, you can say your goodbyes. And then toss it into the fire as kindling. It's a fun game when you're bored. Time to check the fishing lines. He doesn't know how many contestants are left or how long he has to hold on, so he needs to stay focused. He must stay focused and avoid distractions. The gill net's weaving is subpar, but he hopes it will function in the water. After tying the gill net to the wooden sticks, it can be placed in the water. Setting it up went smoothly. Now, it just needs securing. There were hardly any issues. We'll find out tomorrow if we caught any fish. The injury is more severe than we thought. His right foot is freezing and going numb, risking amputation if it persists. Apart from warming by the fire, he could move around to boost blood flow and help his foot heal. He's unsure how he'll survive the night. Craig just managed to save his foot, realizing it's not just the cold, but also his blood circulation. There's little he can do. He drank tea for nutrients and tried warming by the fire, but neither helped much. His body is getting weaker by the day, and he can't keep his foot warm. Finlay's situation doesn't look good. Could it be that despite all his hunting, he still won't win the prize? If he has to amputate to win, who would trade places with him? Don't let their calm demeanor on camera deceive you. They're suffering inside, talking to themselves daily. Their mental state can't be good.
I'm not feeling the warmth.
Pace is doing much better. He managed to catch some fish and distribute it, but his worried animals might steal it. His beard's been growing out for a while. It keeps him warm but makes drinking water a hassle. Pace thought about trimming it. His only worry was cutting himself. After a little trim, he felt more handsome. The door is almost falling apart because of him. No wonder he felt a draft at night. He needs to gather some pine branches to fix it. With only 4 hours of daylight, fishing and chopping would consume most of his time, making door repairs quite time-consuming. Pace actually has ADHD, which affects his daily life and work a lot, although it has improved over time. But in the wild, it's hard for him to stay focused. The worst part is doing the same things every day. I feel like I'm imprisoned, stuck in a dark room with nothing to do. It's like I'm here to torture myself. I wouldn't advise anyone to attempt this, it really messes with your mind. I'll probably need a few days to recover once I'm back. The remaining participants are really skilled in survival. This isn't something you can endure just by starving. Pace barely sleeps each day, waking at the slightest noise. Even before dozing off, she hears animals roaming around. She can't risk losing more food. Grabbing her bow, she heads outside. Sure enough, the eagle is back to steal. Fortunately, she decided to check, otherwise, much of the meat would be gone by morning. But the noises Pace heard were different. She fears it could be a bear or wolf, and her bow and arrow won't suffice. Plus, that eagle keeps returning to taunt her. This little guy isn't food. She dreads the crew taking her to the sewing machine. She's too exhausted to continue. She tries to rest up for the medical check, but Pace fears disqualification due to her weight. If that happens, he can't accept that outcome. He can only hope the other participants quit soon. The challenge has reached its 74th day. Today is his child's birthday.
Well, happy birthday, William.
He didn't expect to still be here. He misses the birthday cake and party feast. He wonders how his family is doing today. He hopes to win the prize and return home soon. To mark his son's birthday, Violin plans a big fire ceremony today. He used to handle all the arrangements himself. His son really wants him there, but sadly, he has to miss it this year. He hopes they have a great time today. He'll also have a bonfire to celebrate. He really misses living with his family. Now he needs to take out that big fish. Everyone would be amazed to see it. It turns out ice blocks are really useful. No need to worry about animals stealing it. The fish head is perfect for making fish soup, even without any seasoning. It tastes pretty good. For those with families and kids, survival challenges are really tough due to loneliness. Especially on meaningful days, it makes you want to quit and go home. The challenge has reached its 75th day. Pace woke up early and can only lie in her sleeping bag, wriggling for warmth. It's truly miserable. I can't fathom how the others are managing. It might just be me and one other person left. Quitting now feels like giving away the prize money. It's tougher to accept than being eliminated. The show warned us that those in poor health might have to leave early. The doctor conducted a series of checks on everyone. If no one had any health issues, although we're all in a pretty dangerous state, we can keep going for now. But by the next checkup, I doubt any of us will finish without issues. After all, we've shed a lot of weight. Pace didn't think he'd still be here, and his emotions are quite mixed. The staff wouldn't say how many are left, but from their exit, it's likely just the two of us. I have to keep going, but it's really too tough. As soon as the crew left, Pace felt particularly miserable. He really wants to quit and leave this place. Who do you think will win the prize money? Let's wait and see together.